everybody, Bruno on NB, where it can't all be serious. I'm joined with my good friend with the nice background, beautiful office, Dr. Laura. Dr. Laura, how's it going today?
It's going great. How are you, Bruno?
You know what? We're doing okay. I was really excited about talking about this because this is how we met. And um, you know, I really admire what you do both on the career side. So we can talk about, you know, Canada Career Counseling. So give us a little brief on that because that's cool in itself.
Okay. So, Canada Career Counseling is a company that I founded in 2009, and it's a team of registered psychologists and counselors that help people navigate their career choices and transitions. So, their first career choice, so age 16 and up, all the way to pivoting careers and then making retirement career decisions. So, we do the whole lifespan with an average age of 33, and we deal with people across industries. We help them, we support them, and we help navigate the emotional side. But the interesting fact is that people can use their insurance and benefits plans towards counseling with a registered psychologist. People don't usually realize that, but it's a very important thing to know. Career planning is deeply psychological.
And I make no bones about it. I know what I know really well, and when I don't know something, I put up my hand and off the camera here, off the video, I was telling you I had no idea. And I bet you, listen, I can't be the only person out in the dark in the middle of the day. I mean, I spent I don't know how many thousands of dollars on benefits for the companies. I never knew, I never thought that that was covered under our benefits, right? And I mean, besides the benefit, it's great value because if we were just talking, why don't you touch on that just for 5 minutes or so, or 5 seconds about how tough it is when you're lost your job or you're transitioning.
Oh, so there's two types of transitions. There's ones that you instigate, where you decide to make a career pivot, and we have lots of clients like that they're just not fulfilled. They don't have meaning, they don't have purpose, they're not happy. Maybe they're working for a toxic boss, maybe they're working for a culture that doesn't align with their values. Whatever it is, we help them navigate that transition, and it's their own choice, but it also comes with a set of emotions and challenges and opportunities, but the growth that we see in our clients is amazing. The second type of client is the one who the decision was made for them. They're laid off, and they often are dealing with the emotions, the shock, the anger, the hurt, the pain, all of that. So as psychologists, we can really help them navigate that, get back on their feet, and then make a purposeful career decision moving forward. So it may be a job search, but it may be a chance to career pivot. About 95% of them a year later say they're happy they were laid off because now they're in a better situation. So we work with companies on their outplacement packages, and I'd say what differentiates us is it's very much more one-on-one and very focused on the individual and the emotions around it, as well as the career planning.
Yeah, and I think you touched on another kind of topic about how tough it is on the human being taking it home. And, why did you touch on that? Because a lot of people just think, oh, transition and outplacement and resume and career planning. It sounds like it's in a box, but it really isn't, is it?
No, we're a whole human being, and that's the whole human being needs to be supported. We need to support people through these transitions because we're in a mental health crisis. It's a mental health pandemic out there. And the latest I looked up today for another presentation is 1 in 4 Americans have depression or anxiety. Like, they are told by their doctor, you have a depression or an anxiety. And doctors, 80% of their patients that come in is around mental health these days.
Well, I agree. I think that's just diagnosed, right? It's like everybody's going through something, and when you lose the job and it's a tough market or a good market, and you got to pay the rent, got to buy a house. I mean, you just take that home with you. And I just think the service you provide, you and your company, God bless you guys, because it is the whole person that's affected. And if the whole person's affected, the whole world is affected. Because it affects everybody, except it affects the kids, doesn't it? It affects the grandparents. It affects you going to the hockey rink and watching your kid, and you're just bitter at the world, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's a huge problem, and I'm glad that we can do a small part in it. And on the podcast, I do try to bring really important content on that, and I'm happy to talk more about that as well.
Can we do that for a second? Where do they find it? I've watched yours, and I mean, this is more of a fun podcast, so people get to know who Dr. Laura is. We talk about, your technical stuff a little bit, but people are going to get to know you on this episode, like just more who Dr. Laura is, right? But your podcast is when I say technical, it gets to the point. You guys get to it, right? Like real smart people. So I don't know what I'm doing here, but tell us how we get to your podcast.
Yeah, sure. So it's at www.drlaura, all as one word, .live, Live, and it's called Where Work Meets Life. So it's on all the podcast platforms. So you can search Where Work Meets Life on Spotify or Apple or wherever you listen to podcasts. Yeah. And I'm in season 4, so it's my 4th year of doing it. And when I decided what types of topics do I want to do, well, I have one category called Thriving Humans, helping human beings thrive. And I'll get experts on different topics like brain health and sleep, or gosh, I have so many topics. It's hard to even begin to tell you how many topics I have. So how we can thrive as humans, how we can thrive as organizations. So everything from culture to unconscious bias to equity, diversity, and inclusion to et cetera, et cetera. I'm doing a 4-day work week series coming up, like those different topics of like what organizations need to be aware of. And then my other category is career fulfillment. So that's a whole category of episodes. And then advocating for a better world, because I'm definitely a philanthropist at heart. And I just want to highlight and give back in that way. And I have some pretty deep topics on there.
The one thing that you have what they call stopping the scroll type stuff on YouTube, where it just captures your attention and you listen to somebody talk about one of the topics you mentioned. I don't have a number. You're a researcher. I don't have numbers, but I would say high 90% they're dabblers. And that's what I really like about your podcast. None of your people are dabblers. You guys are real in the game experts. And when you talk about career transition or emotional, the topics you guys talk about, their research, you guys are experts. That's what I really enjoy about your podcasts, right? No dabblers, right? But I want to talk.
Totally. Yeah.
I want to talk about one thing, how we met. So you were a keynote speaker. So we want to talk about that. I was super impressed. And that's kind of how we met anyways, because you were speaking somewhere. Why don't you, and then I found out that that's kind of what you do also, not also, but you do, right? Walk us through, like I could never be a keynote speaker. It's never going to happen. But walk us through like why you're doing it, how you're doing it, how they see you, that kind of stuff.
Sure. So over the years as a consulting psychologist, I've spoken a lot in organizations. I've done a lot of training and workshops, but I've also done a lot of speaking engagements at events and conferences. And my company was acquired, one of my companies. So not Canada Career Counseling, I still have that, but my other company that focused on remote and hybrid leadership and leadership development was acquired during the pandemic, which was a good news story for an entrepreneur. But I had to kind of figure out, well, what do I want to do next? And I really decided I love speaking. I just really enjoy the impact that it has, that I can have on many people all at once versus one-on-one or small groups. I much prefer it to doing a workshop or a training. I just like the bigger energy of an audience where I can come in for 45 minutes minutes, right? Or an hour or half an hour, and just put all my heart into it, all my energy, and leave them feeling inspired. So I do a lot of them that are an hour or 90 minutes, and I like going into different industries and learning about each industry and their challenges and their opportunities, but it's all human beings at the heart of it. And the organizational psychology experience and evidence I have, I can, formulate it into a variety of ways to help others. And I have my lane, I have my areas that I talk about and speak about most. And I'm just passionate about continuing to do that and grow that.
And I don't even know if the grading, if I had to grade you as you're a 1 out of 10 or 10 out of 10. I go to to certain events and I'm kind of like, either it blows me away or you're not paying attention. And I have to tell you, I'm just not complimenting. This is one reason. Like, I was like really impressed, and not that I expected zero from you. I was just like, your topic was very good, right? It was a good topic, but I thought the way you presented, engaged, I thought it was super, super, super good. And
Thank you.
it takes a very special person to do that, because I don't know if I could ever do that, like I said. But what are certain things that this is a tough question. What are certain things you're getting out of it that you never thought you would get out of it? A little bit of a surprise add-on to now becoming a keynote speaker.
Huh. Well, I think I am definitely impacting more people broadly. I'm bringing more people onto my podcast and into my community, where I continue to share free, beautiful resources, whether it's podcast episode, blogs. I do a lot of writing, articles and pieces, but I'm bringing more people into the community and I'm helping more people as a result of speaking. And I'm meeting some incredible other speakers and other authors, and the network is just growing month over month with amazing people. And I'm so glad that we met, Bruno. I think it was the Culture Revolution event was a great event we had in last May in Calgary, and it was a really good collaboration. And yeah, I got some good footage out of it. So my speaker reel has pieces of me speaking there, and that's at drlaura.live/speaking. But I really appreciate how genuine and connected you are, Bruno, and truly wanting to introduce people and connect. You're what I see as a connector.
Oh, I appreciate it. And I'm going to tell you something. You might not know this, but there, without exaggeration, probably 10 or 15 people, that I talk to and work, and I never really know. Some of them are the last people I ever thought about being a keynote speaker. And they're like, "Hey, Bruno, can you connect me? Do you know Dr. Laura?" And, now taken away from the other two speakers, they did a really, really good job too. Like, I mean, let's, if you guys want to watch it, it's on our YouTube channel,
Yeah.
Mega Picks, or
Yeah.
the link. But, they would say, "How do you know Dr. Laura?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know her through this keynote speaking thing, right?" It's like, if I would love to be a keynote speaker, blah, 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 blah. How did you get started? I'm like, I don't know. Like, just give her a call. But you just impact people to put them just over the edge to say, I'd love to do what she does, keynote speaking. It's a lot harder than it looks. But so I think you do encourage and inspire other people during that venue, during that, your keynotes, right? And it's not for everybody either. It's really, it's tough to stay that focused for me. But now, I want to do a little something called rapid fire, so people get to know the real Dr. Laura, right? So you can take a deep breath. Only you know these answers, so there's no pressure. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Are you ready? Favorite food?
Sushi.
You're the third person in a row that picks sushi. So
Funny.
I might have to start making that my favorite food. Okay. Favorite restaurant? It doesn't have to be in town.
Gosh. Sorry, I'm just struggling with that. I'm just going to go out on the limb and say Matador Pizza, where I grew up in Varsity in Calgary going to Matador Pizza, and it still stands to this day. They have really great pizza and awesome other food.
My friend Sean Acheampong in Toronto was on this show, and I still bug him because he's world traveled, everything like this. And I go, Sean, favorite restaurant? Oh man, I got to go McDonald's, man. I like I'm like all the places, right? So it's funny. The people get to know you this way. So favorite movie? Do you have a favorite movie?
Love Actually.
Okay. Favorite actor?
Oh
I
my
guess guy or
gosh.
girl, right? Actors both.
I really like Reese Witherspoon, I'd say.
Okay. What's your favorite movie of her?
Oh, there's so many. She was hilarious on Legally Blonde. She
Yeah.
was great.
Favorite band, musical band.
Coldplay.
Favorite song of all time.
Oh my gosh. There's so many, but I would say um probably Hotel California.
Oh, by the Eagles. Okay.
Yeah. So
Mm.
Eagles would be another favorite band for sure.
Favorite place that you visited, like city.
Oh gosh. That is a big question of the day. I loved Santorini in Greece. I thought that was really special.
Okay, a place you would like to visit, but you haven't been there yet.
Machu Picchu.
Oh, okay. Reason?
I just would love to hike up there, and it looks like another world, and it's a bucket list thing for me.
So when are you doing it? See, I catch everybody doing that, right? So enough dreaming.
Probably
Book it.
in the next 2 years,
Okay,
I'd
that's
say. I
good.
just have to figure out the right, whether it's my husband or some girlfriends or whoever wants to go. I need to figure that out.
Okay. You know what I find fascinating about rapid fire is that like I would place you in the brilliant category. You're really, really, really good at what you do. And you can answer any technical question in your field like that. And then all of a sudden I ask favorite food, like, oh my God, so I
I
just
know.
love it. I just love it. So person that's still alive today in the whole wide world that you would like to meet.
I'd love to meet Adam Grant, who's an influencer in my field of organizational psychology, and it's on my bucket list to chat with him, to meet him because I really admire what he does, and respect what he does and him.
So if I put in Adam Grant right now, what would you ask him? One question. First
Hmm.
question.
What do you love most about what you do, Adam?
Okay, good. Somebody who's already passed away, unfortunately, at any time in history that you would like to sit down and talk to.
Oh my gosh. Mother Teresa. I
Okay,
think
what would you
I
ask
think
her?
well, I think what she feels that how we can best help humanity in the crisis that we're in, what her insights are on what humans need to evolve in this world.
A few people have brought up Mother Teresa.
Really?
A couple, yeah, a couple people. I've been doing this for 3,000 years, man. Like, no, I'm just joking. I'm older than Mother Teresa. No, but you know what? I thought about Mother Teresa because, sorry, I was thinking about Mother Teresa, the last person who said, I'd like to meet Mother Teresa. Can you imagine somebody like her in a digital media age? Like how many more people she would be able to reach and how much, you know what I mean? Like she did it rock, paper, scissors,
I
right?
know. She
It's
did.
crazy. You start thinking about that. That's crazy. Do you follow sports? Do you have a
I
favorite team?
no, don't ask me that. I wouldn't say I'm a super sports enthusiast. When the Flames are in competition and they're doing well, maybe
It's
they're in
fun.
the playoffs, then I'll pay attention, but only then.
Yeah, it's
I
tough, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
tough.
I love squash, right? So, but squash hasn't made it into the Olympics or anything, but I love watching competitive squash. I love playing squash. And that's a really great community that I'm a part of.
Do they have a court in your building, your new building? No.
No, I don't.
They don't, because some of those buildings in that part of town, they
Mhm.
used to have gyms, and one building I was downtown, they had like a little gym and a squash court. I'm like, well, this is pretty cool, right? But then we moved out here. So okay, do you have a nickname?
Annie. That's my
Annie.
nickname growing up.
How'd you get
Annie.
that?
Middle name is Anne, and all
Ah,
my older siblings called me Annie, and yeah, that's what I was called. And they
that's
still call
cool.
me that, so their kids call me that. So I have dozens of nieces and nephews and great nieces and nephews, and they all call me Auntie Annie.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Okay, so here's the time in the show that I go like this, and you get to ask me one question. Any question you want.
What are you most proud of in your long and winding and varied, diverse career that you've had as a serial entrepreneur, as a creator, as a leader? What are you most proud of? What impact have you had?
On a personal level, just having a family that I guess, and I'm not, please don't read into this, but I guess relatively functional these days, right?
Mhm.
Proud of my kids, proud of my family, proud of everybody in my family, right? I don't think that's easy. I know it wasn't for me. And a good friend of mine said, his name is Bruno Picconi. I'm going to have him on the show. He's one of my favorite people. He was an executive, and he used to tell me all the time, work hard, bring up your kids. His kids were a little older. I got a lot of coaching from him, and then all of a sudden I go, okay, I think I got it. I think I got it. And then he goes, hey, Bruno, just so that you know, there's no trophy at the end, right? So you just can only feel good about it. And
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest impact, thing I've achieved up to now. I'm glad my kids are healthy, my family, my wife and kids, healthy, happy, and helpful. I think we're a little too driven sometimes. We just want to make a difference in the world. On the business side, I'm going to kind of maybe borrow something you said, because I really believe that's what it is that you kind of get into. I was in the recruiting, the executive recruiting, staffing, whatever you want to call it, right? At the time when a client calls you and says, I need a CFO or a VP of finance or something like that, right? Or a CTO, the search is on, right? And then 20 years later, 25 years later, you bump into that person and you've introduced their kids to jobs, their wives to jobs. They now live in a bigger house and all that kind of stuff, right?
Hmm.
I think you look back and you say, I didn't get them a job, right? Well, first of all, I never get anybody a job. I introduced them to jobs. They got to get them on their own. I just think that we forget that the little transaction pieces, the little words, the little commas, the little semicolons, you know what I mean, that are in our emails transform lives beyond comprehension. And yeah, we got paid for that transaction, but had we not been part of that, it really is weird. Um, Sitting down, like you mentioned, we met at the Cultural Revolution, and you were a keynote speaker. And then there were people in there. It's like, hey, how do you know Bruno? Bruno, how do you know so and so? And it's like, holy geez, like you were just a junior accounts payable or a junior engineer. Now he's like owns a company, or she's the vice president of a big oil company. It's like, oh man. First of all, I'm freaked out. I go, that much time has gone by. But then you think of the first time you meet somebody, and it's no different that I think the proudest feeling is I really think I can walk down any street, and I don't think anybody's going to go, that person didn't try for me. I don't think, I don't know. I can't help everybody, but I think that's the biggest achievement is having that part in somebody's career. And you mentioned it, it's not just a career. It's you take it home, you're happier, you're content, and you look back and you're part of that transition. And I
Mhm.
think that's the biggest thing that I'm happy about. So that was a tough
Excellent.
one, Dr. Laura. You gave me a
No.
hard one. So, but you know what? I've really enjoyed having you on the show. I totally appreciate you taking time. I know how busy you are, and you know you have to move some stuff around. And how do people get in touch with you? Because I think using your firm and using your services is game changing, and I can't say that about everybody. So,
Oh, I
how do they get in
really
touch with you?
appreciate. Geez, I
Well, that's how
appreciate that so much.
but that's how I feel.
CanadaCareerCounseling.com. So you'll find our Calgary office on that website as well as our national presence. So CanadaCareerCounseling.com. And then for my speaking, it would be drlaura.live. So www.drlaura, all as one word, .live, L-I-V-E. And there you go.
Or just call me because I'm a big fan of yours. And I really mean
Oh,
that sincerely and from the heart. I really think what you do is amazing. Your staff is great. And I really appreciate everything you've done for us too. So it's been a game changer. So thank you, Dr. Laura. Everybody out there, connect with her, get to the next level in your career and your life. So thanks again, Dr. Laura.
thank you, Bruno. Stay well.